Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So pleased to have you with us here tonight. This is JZilla and Cross-Threaded Tuesday night iRacing at Summit Point with the JZilla Track Day fam. So pleased to be here tonight. My name is Jim Hodgson. I am the far less attractive half of the Cross-Threaded team. My wife is unfortunately not with us tonight, but we are planning some races in the future when she will be able to join us on mic. She's just a very busy lady. Now, as you can see, we're just about to start the qualifying phase. We're going to have a little bit of qualifying, if you call it that. I'm not sure anybody really is qualified. Well, a couple of the drivers are. And then we were going to have a race. Now, if you're not familiar with Summit Point, it is a storied racetrack. Lots of great racing to be had at Summit Point. We were racing the usual configuration. The big old loop on one end and what looks like a ghost's head at the top. Lots of turns all together at the top. But it should be some pretty fast laps. I'm going to guess in the 120 range. And we should have some pretty interesting racing. Now, you can see cars are getting out on track. Once again, just thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jim Hodgson. We're going to have some fun tonight. I've been looking forward to this for days and days because I have such a gas laughing at these guys, quote unquote, racing. Not because there's anything wrong with sim racing. It's just that, well, you'll see. There are going to be some questionable moves on track tonight, folks. I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. Now, we do have some really good drivers tonight. Just going by license, of note, Jesse Olsen, probably the most capable driver on the grid. Just going by license, so the most iRacing experience, followed by the likes of Michael Day, Max Muir, who turned in some pretty fast laps during practice. And, here's an interesting point. Fred Hazelton also has a B license, so he's done a good bit of iRacing, but he's also been known to deploy the Hazelton hip check to send one of his fellow racers bouncing off the track into the wall. But let's hope we don't see that tonight. Now, remember, this is all in fun. These guys are all friends. They are all chatting on Discord as we speak, having a laugh with one another. So it's not super serious. It's meant to be fun. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. Now let's see if we can have a look at some people driving around on the course. Now, this is Jesse Olsen in the Racing Sim Tools livery. Now, you might be able to tell, viewers, if you've watched any of our previous streams, that the quality has improved considerably. As you can see, there should be much less chop in the stream, and you should be able to see the cars actually driving around without having to punch yourself repeatedly in the head so that you can enjoy it. Now, let's see. It looks like we're actually starting to get some laps turned in. This is Brian Henry in the Coca-Cola car, the number 34 machine. He has just put in a 124.8. I think that you are going to see that bested. Just a short, looks like a half-second gap to Muir. Yeah, I think you're going to see these times bested as we go along. But 124.8, the time to beat so far. And there we do have an improvement. Olsen just put in a 123.9. There he is, making a pass on and then having a little bit of trouble. Luckily for Olsen, now he did get into turn one super hot there, but I believe he will still get credit, since he crossed the finish line, will still get credit for the fast lap, which is that 123.9. That was Baruch's car that he was having a little mix-up with there in turn one. It looks like Olsen is going to go ahead and call it a day on qualifying. Now here's your second place car, Henry, still with the 124.8 for his best. almost a full second behind Olsen. So he's going to have to do some work, and he's got some trouble with traffic there, as you can see. Looks like he's bouncing around behind Scott Lovett and Kevin Bandy. I think Kevin Bandy is the man leading that particular conga line at the moment. There he is. As, let's be fair, Bandy has been known to do. And there he goes driving off the course. Well, so it goes with conga lines, friends. They do not constrain themselves to the limits of the track. Olsen back out on track and sliding the car around. It looks like Day has moved into P2 in qualifying. Here is his car, the number 5 car. He has managed to do a 124.5, besting Henry's 124.8. But still a half second adrift of Olsen. This is Muir in the number 11 car. And I believe that is Bandy behind him. Yes, it is. Now, like I said, Muir was turning in some pretty fast laps during practice, so I expected to see some pretty great performance from him in qualifying, but it has yet to materialize. Now, Fred Hazelton has just turned in a fastest lap of the session. He's got Olsen by by 0.143, as you can see there, so not much of a gap. Hazelton, a very good qualifier, doesn't seem to be able to replicate those results once the race starts, but perhaps that's just been bad luck in this series so far. These things do happen after all. Let's see if Olsen Greenberg has moved into P3 here. He's managed a 124.4. There is Greenberg's car. As you can see, it is painted with some very delicious oregano. I can only assume that Mr. Greenberg enjoys cooking, as do I. What is better, friends? I ask you, what could be better than some delicious herb? So Olsen now in P3 because Muir has turned in the fastest lap of qualifying so far. No sooner did I say that he was turning in some fast laps during practice than he manages to do it. A 123.2, beating Hazelton by over half a second. Solid time there. Some interesting use of the curbs there on Muir's part. We're all friends here, right? Yes. Oops, I meant to mute my mic before I picked up my drink. There we go. Professionalism on mic, friends. Now let's see. So Muir, Hazelton, Olsen. Now it's a pretty long run. We're looking down the straight here. Pretty long run. You just saw him pass the start finish there. A pretty long run here all the way down into turn 1. Now what that makes me think is that there is going to be an almighty goat rope in turn 1. That's Muir just going through 1 there. Now I say that because the entire field, and we're looking at 10 cars in the field tonight, all 10 of those cars will be going at just about the top of what they can do. But not all of them will have the same capabilities between the wheel and the brake pedal, if you understand what I'm getting at. So we could see some very interesting braking strategies going into 1, such as slamming into the rear of other people's cars. Pool ball style. In fact, let me go ahead and tell you that that's going to happen. I'm just going to I got out my crystal ball here. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you that turn 1 tonight is going to be an almighty goat rope. So, looking at it right now, we got 5 minutes left of qualifying, but right now it's going to be Muir, Hazelton, and Olsen and Day. I'm not too familiar with Day's racing so far, or Muir's for that matter, but I have seen Hazelton and Olsen race. Olsen is got a lot of experience, able to keep it pretty clean. Hazelton, well, we love him, don't we? He's a good guy. So it's a question whether I was just going to say it would be great for the leaders if they could get a little bit of distance on the rest of the field, because, well, I don't want to tell tales out of school, guys, but when you get back into the P8, 9, 10, you get back into the Bandys and the Baruches and the Bonchevs of the world. Well, let's just say anything can happen. I mean, will they be able to make it through to turn 3 without an incident between those 3 cars? I wouldn't bet on it. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I wouldn't bet on it. So it looks like we've pretty well sorted ourselves out here for qualifying. Still, Muir, Hazelton, and Olsen in positions 1 through 3. Day, Greenberg, Henry, 4, 5, 6. Lovett, Bandy, Baruch, and Bonchev filling it out. Now, there's nothing but 4 seconds in the whole field. There's, as we watch Muir do a little bit of dancing on the beach. I'm gonna go ahead and hand it to Muir for that save. That was pretty serious. Let's see if we can go back and have a look at that. That to be able to get it back on track at speed, Max. That's let's see that one more time. Here we go. I believe that is, yeah, pretty serious save, Max. Well done, sir. Well done to you, sir. There's Hazelton. Will he be able to best his time? Yes, he does. Personal best for Hazelton, but still not good enough to get by Muir. And time is running out. Hazelton and Olsen have but 2.5 minutes. And Hazelton is not going to have any luck dipping wheels off of the track like that. Muir, 123.2. Hazelton, 123.7. Olsen, 123.79. 300ths between Olsen and Hazelton. Would not surprise me at all if Olsen were able to make something happen. Here he is. Just going through the carousel section of the track there. How is he looking so far? You can see there his fast lap in the middle. There's a 123.7, and that was his last lap, so he's storming along. Heading now through the final turn. If he can hold all that speed and shovel it across the start-finish line, perhaps he can get around Hazelton. Let's see what he can do here. That seemed pretty sedate to me. But let's see. He's going to cross the finish line now. What can he do? 124.8. So not an improvement. Well, we're finishing up qualifying, and it looks like this is going to be your start order. Muir, Hazelton, Olsen, Greenberg, Day. And then on to Henry, Lovett, Bandy, Baruch, and Bonchev. We do have a couple of cars. It looks like Baruch is coming through the final turn here. And he's gone into the pits. Bandy's still trying to take one last flyer. Let's see what he can do for himself. Maybe he can get by Lovett. He's got a half-second deficit there. Come on, Bandy. No. He does not. That's all right, Bandy. We still love you, buddy. I know I do. So we're going to get to the grid here shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I am Jim Hodgson, speaking on behalf of JZilla and Cross-Threaded. This is JZilla's Tuesday Night iRacing. qualifying just about to wrap up. Drivers getting the white flag there on the qualifying session. Bandy might be able to complete one more lap. No, not like that he won't. Oh, Bandy. Now he's just... This is madness. Shame on you. Manages to avoid the tire wall in the middle of the crash, though. That's pretty impressive. Was a lot of crashing, Kevin. A lot of crashing. Some of the faster cars going ahead and leaving the track since they figure they've done the best that they can do. We might have a late... It looks like Bonchev is the only person still seriously driving at speed. There is the checker on the qualifying session from the starting stand. I love that this game actually puts a guy on the starting stand and has him actually wave a flag. That pleases me. That is Bonchev's car. He's being passed by Newton, so we may be up to 11 cars in the field. Newton is going to get stopped before he can complete a qualifying lap, so he will have to start from the rear. Unfortunate. He decides to do a few quick... maybe he's driving back to the pits? Not sure what he's about. All right, let's have a look at our grid, shall we? Here we are. As I said, in P1, Max Muir. And I've also said I haven't seen Muir drive yet, but as you can see, he's taken P1, so he's got some pretty serious chops. Whether he'll be able to make those stick and turn it into a good finish for the race is another matter. Hazelton we are familiar with. We know that he's a very good qualifier. Also, doesn't always get the results that his qualifying would make you think he might be able to. So we'll see if he can make a change in that way tonight. Row 2, Olsen, solid performer, the highest rated driver on the grid tonight. He's an A. The races that I've seen him not win, it's usually because he gets hip checked off track. In P4, Jonathan Greenberg there on row 2 for company. Here we are on row 3, Michael Day and Brian Henry. And on to Lovett, Bandy, Baruch, Bonchev. Now, Newton might be starting from the pit lane. Let's see if we can see him. We got about 40 seconds to go. Let's see. I'm going to follow Day's car. Excuse me, that's Olsen's car. Try to see if I can see. Well, let's do this. That way we can see what happens to the whole field. But as I said, I think there's going to be some pretty serious carnage once we get down to turn 1. About 2 seconds to go now. Start is any second now. Driver's warming them up. And we are green, and away we go. A good start for Hazelton. He seems to have gotten a little bit of a jump on Muir. Everybody okay in the rear so far, but again, we have not gotten down to turn 1 yet, which is where the terribleness will occur. You can see Bandy drifting over to take a better position to make the turn. Did we get through the 1-2 complex clean? Get out of here. What is happening? I don't even know who I am anymore. Unbelievable. I was expecting, you heard me, I was expecting carnage, destruction. I mean, I'm sure that I've spoken too soon because it'll happen soon enough, but still, well done to you guys. Well done. Now, Muir getting a little bit of a break on Hazelton, it looks like. Olsen ready to get around Hazelton, so that's Muir, Hazelton, Olsen. It doesn't look like any of the cars are stopped on track yet. I cannot believe it. We have had a couple of off-track moments, but nobody's in the tire wall, which is shocking. I'm shocked. We got a pretty good group of 5 here coming around to finish up lap 1. That's Muir, Hazelton, Olsen, Greenberg, and Day. Hazelton there right up behind Muir. And it looks like Hazelton had a little look into one, but it's not going to work. And not only that, he might have left the door open for Olsen to get around. Indeed, Olsen is taking a look, but doesn't quite have the speed. And just that little bit of goofing around has meant that Muir has been able to get a little bit of space on these guys. Everybody's hanging it out as they head up into, that was turn 3. Car's really doing a good bit of sliding around. Here we see Olsen yet again right on Hazelton's rear trumpet. That is Muir, still in the lead. Everybody pretty well grouped up. Now, Newton is running all by himself. Not sure what happened to him, but he's running near the rear. Well, he's running at the exact rear of the field. So he might have had some kind of an issue. And it looks like Kevin Bandy is stopped on track. He might have had an issue as well. But I want to stay with the leaders while we got a good group like this. I think we're pretty soon going to see Olsen looking to make a move on Hazelton. Let's see if he can do it here going into 1. He can't. But he is filling up Fred's mirrors. Seems to me Fred is taking a somewhat defensive line there, although he has closed up a little bit of that gap on Muir, which is good for Fred. Not so good for Muir. Dirty track, Muir on the beach. Does not lose a lot of time there. Even though he kind of cut that corner. You would think that he'd be seeing a black flag for that, but oh, Hazelton, big slide. Managed just to save it well enough to stay out of Olsen's way. Well done, Fred. Olsen says, I will come on through, Fred. Thank you very much. And does. Now Olsen's job is going to be to chase down Muir. Olsen, he's a kind of a Mr. Consistency sort of a driver, so I think that he can probably make it happen, but he's running over a second behind Muir's lap time, so we may see Muir pull away. And of course, he's got to deal with Hazelton knocking on his back door as well. Looks like Hazelton got a run going down the front straight. Olsen's going to pull aside. He's realized that Fred got a run on him. He's just going to pull aside and let Fred have it. Or is he? Olsen takes the inside. Lots of braking. Oh, they managed to keep it clean. Muir scampering away into the distance. Hazelton pit maneuvers Olsen, then lets it breathe to pull off. All right. So we're back into, I believe we're sort of settling down now. I mean, as I say that, I'm sure that all manner of fires are raging on the rest of the course. There's your leader, Max Muir. The number 11 car. And what kind of gap do we have back today? Day running about 7/10 behind Hazelton. And it looks like Muir has jumped up to a 2-second gap on Olsen, Hazelton, and Day group behind. So if Muir is able to turn in some consistent laps, he may be able to walk away with this one. Let's just take a trip through the rest of the field and see what we're looking at here. There's Olsen's car, as you know. We'll get a little bit closer. Everybody's braking for one. Hazelton giving him a little bumperoo, looked like. Nothing too serious. There's Hazelton just behind in the blue skunk stripe. That is Day's car, the orange car with the bright yellow nose. And here is Greenberg running there in the number 33 car. As you know, you remember him. He is the fan of oregano. As are we all, I'm sure. Then from Greenberg, we're looking at a 12-second interval back to Lovett. Here he is. I'm not sure what his livery is, but he's got a big JZilla sticker on the rear deck lid, which is always good. Can't quite see the hood, though. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. Oh, it's Bruce Willis from Die Hard. That's pretty hilarious. Well done to you, Lovett. And then beyond Lovett, just about 3 seconds back, is Henry in the Coca-Cola car. Manages to save it. Then we go on to Baruch in the Snap-on car. Newton, and he doesn't really have a livery, does he? Bandy driving along without a hood. What happened to you, pal? What happened? And last, but far from least, Val Bonchev in the student driver car. Let's see if we can find out what happened to Mr. Bandy. Here we go. Oh, that's after the incident. That's after the incident. That looks like it's after. Here we go. This is a replay of something that happened to Bandy. Driving along. A little hot. Dips a couple wheels. A couple more wheels. Happy birthday to the tire wall. Well, these things happen. And now he is pulling out of the pits, ready to rejoin the race. Oh, that's Bonchev's car exploding in front of the leader and holding up Muir. If we can get another look at that. We didn't get an incident for it. That's nice. There's a big old goat rope going on there heading into one. That's Hazelton, Olsen, and Day, I believe. Yep. And then Greenberg behind in the oregano car. Hazelton getting a run. Closing it up on Olsen. This is Day we're focused on here. A lot of pretty close racing. See if Day can make anything out of this. Or Hazelton, for that matter. Olsen doesn't appear to me to be driving too defensively. I mean, he's got to keep it pretty fast in the corners to keep from getting booted off the track. Looked to me like Hazelton got a little bit of run on Olsen in that turn, like he might have turned in just a split second earlier than Olsen did, and it gave him a run on him, which he might be able to capitalize on down the front straight. Let's see what happens. He's having a look. I think he pulled out a hair earlier there. Olsen covering off the inside, and now we're just ice dancing down the front straight. And everybody forgot to put on the brake before one. Is Hazelton going to be able to get around Olsen? It doesn't look like it. I bet Fred is kicking himself for not being able to capitalize on that little oops poops on Olsen's behalf. Or on Olsen's part, rather. A lot of dirt on the track there. Yeah, it looks like we're just going to stay with this group. Olsen covering off the inside, it looked like. Braking very close to the apex of that turn there as we go into this little carousel complex. I can only imagine that he did that to try to cover Hazelton off. Muir losing the car in the lead and takes himself out. We have a new leader, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Jesse Olsen takes the lead. I feel like somebody might have mentioned when this race was beginning that Olsen is an experienced hand and he's able to turn in some consistent laps. I feel like I gotta say, guys, I feel like I've been proven right on that score. Because he just took the lead. We're coming up on a third of the way through the race, and he just took the lead by being consistent. And the driver in front of him had a little talent problem. These things do happen. So, your leaders: Olsen, Hazelton, Day. Let's check on Greenberg in the Oregano car. Here he is. Doing just fine, thank you very much. Probably very shortly going to be dealing with this car. Muir. Will Muir be able to race himself back to the front of the race? Not losing the rear of the car like that, he's not. I think, if I had to guess, friends, I would guess that Muir is driving a little bit angry right now. I know that when I've had on-track incidents that were completely my fault, as they all are, when I recover from them, I tend to get a little bit peeved, especially in iRacing when you feel like you've thrown away the last 10 or 20 minutes of your life by doing something stupid. So if Muir is able to calm down and keep turning in fast laps, he might be able to get himself back up to the podium. And I believe we also have a shakeup later in the race, because I think everybody's got to stop for gas. So, still anybody's race at this point, but Muir's already closed the gap to Greenberg in the Oregano car. I'm sure that Muir is thinking to himself right now, you know, I can go for some scrambled eggs. Looking at this Oregano car, if I could just do an omelet, maybe a little ham, a little cheese, put some oregano in there, delicious. Muir wisely choosing not to try to pass Greenberg at that particular point in the track. I think that would have resulted in a coming together. And Greenberg poorly handling his entry to the carousel complex, and that's holding Muir up a little bit. I'm sure Muir is annoyed about that. But I would not be surprised if Muir was able to get around Greenberg's car as we go down the front straight, which we shortly will. Just the sweeping right-hander, and then off we go onto the front straight. I'm not sure it's a good idea to try it in the turn, and that is why. So Muir hip checks Greenberg, and Greenberg looks like he was able to get back on track without too much concern. Yes, indeed. So a little bit of an elbows out pass on Muir's part, but no harm, no foul. The Oregano car is back on track, is it not? Back up to your leader. Here's Olsen. Hazelton right on his trumpet. Let's see what Hazelton is able to make out of this mess as we pass Alexander Newton. Newton takes out the leader, takes out P2, and Day comes out on top, it looks like. Yes, indeed, he does. Olsen back by Hazelton. It looked to me like Fred let it breathe there. I'm sure there is some interesting discussion happening on the Discord chat right now, where everybody is saying, you should give me the lead back because the driver took out both of our cars. But perhaps not. I mean, that is racing after all. Anyway, we do have a new leader. Your new leader, I'm not sure why the status thing says that Olsen is in the lead. It is in fact Day in the orange car. Here is Day. So Day, Olsen, Hazelton. Olsen having a look on the outside of one I can certainly see how that could stick. He does get around before one, but is he too hot to make the turn? Has to do a lot of remedial braking, which Day closes up, but Olsen stays ahead. Now, will Hazelton be able to get around Day and continue his chase of Olsen? That's the question here. Or will Olsen and Day just scamper away from Hazelton entirely? That doesn't look like it. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Just over a third of the way through the race. Let's take a little trip through the field, shall we? Let's get our rear chase going. Here's your leader, Jesse Olsen. Fastest lap of the race so far, 1:23.5. None too shabs. Day, P2, currently being harried by Fred Hazelton. And it will not be long. There's Fred's car. It's going to have a little look at Day coming down into one, I believe. Might be able to make it happen. This is a long front straight. Who is going to blink first? Fred does make the pass on Day. Will he make it stick? Day might be able to come back at him, but doesn't. Looked like Day felt like he braked, or his braking was late, and he might have felt just happy to be able to keep the car on the driving surface. Hazelton losing the rear of his car, but not too much speed. So we're back to Olsen, Hazelton, and Day. But like I said, we were taking a trip through the field. Now, Muir has closed it up to this 4-car leader group. Might very well be able to make something happen. Here's Muir in the 11 car, as you can see. A little bit of damage. No low balls. I know what I got. Beyond Muir is Greenberg in the Oregano car. Probably thinking to himself that he should pick up some basil on the way home and maybe make a homemade pizza. Wouldn't that be good? Here's Brian Henry in the Coca-Cola car. That would also go nicely with the pizza. Here's Scott Lovett in the JZilla livery, I guess it is. He's got Bruce Willis on the front there. And then JZilla Track Days. And yet another Die Hard quote there on the rear deck lid. Great stuff. Here's Baruch in the Snap-on car 323. Also, the number of his WRL / Lucky Dog / Champ car, racing car, if I'm not mistaken. The Hong North car, I believe, is 323. And here's Newton. He's apparently just had a bit of an off-track event. And, oh no. Hopefully the leaders are able to get around. Look at your mirrors, Newton. And they do. Well done. Beyond Newton is Bonchev in the student driver car. And last, but far from least, good old Kevin Bandy. You know him, you love him. Here he is. Car number 5, the Mazda Speed livery. Bandy, I'm going to need you to get a little bit fancier livery for next week, please. I mean, Mazda Speed, come on, buddy. It's a little on the nose. Let's do like something like the oregano car. Maybe some rosemary, thyme, sage, something like that. We could do a whole field of cars of that nature. Now, friends, I believe we have a new leader of the race. We do indeed. It is Hazelton. And Muir has moved up into P2. So probably while we were taking our trip through the field and having a bit of a laugh at the rest of the cars, there was some sort of event which caused Day and Olsen to be held up and Muir and Hazelton to scamper on past. coming on for halfway through the race, and this is a pretty good result for Hazelton, although at Road Atlanta, as I recall, he was near or at the front until there was a big shakeup when some cars that were a little bit farther down the field had some oops poops and blocked the track and or knocked folks off of the track. But your 4-car hot shoe leader group, here we go. Excuse me for hitting the mic with my hand there. Muir looks like he's having a little bit of a look as they come down the front straight, as anyone would. Will he be able to outbrake Hazelton into one and retake the lead of the race? That would be quite a comeback on Muir's part. Oh, Olsen gives Hazelton the taparoo. Hazelton runs into Day. Hazelton does a pretty nifty donut and gets underway again. And here comes Greenberg in the oregano car. I think Olsen, he might go on and let Fred have that one, just on account of it was him who dive bombed turn 1. Day in the pit. And that was somebody crashing into the pit. I believe that might have been Bonchev. No. Love it. Yes. So, I don't know why it says Day is the leader. Because he's got 50 seconds. According to this, he's got 50 seconds on Muir, who should retake the lead as he crosses the start finish, because he will go a lap up on Day. And there he goes. Day heading back down the leaderboard. Okay. So as it stands, Muir in the lead, almost 10 seconds back to Olsen, who is duking it out with the oregano car. I just had to remove somebody in the chat. He was babbling nonsense. That's my job. So here we go. Here's Greenberg on Olsen and Muir scampering away into the distance. Here's Muir. Scampering off of the track, in fact. Muir's got a pretty good ability to save this Mazda after he's had it off the track. Here he goes into the pits. I guess he figures he's got a 10-second advantage. He might as well come in for his tires and fuel now. Olsen pits as well, as does Greenberg. And Lovett loses his car, and Newton loses his car. Lovett almost managed to tank slapper his way all the way down the front straight, which would have been quite a thing indeed. Looks like everybody's taken tires. Muir is the first out, and I believe he will retain the lead. Yes, he will. Well, that was a lot of unexpected stuff happening all at once. Looks like Olsen is out of the pits, as is Hazelton. And everybody has pitted once now, except for Baruch, Bonchev, Bandy, who have pitted 2 or 3 times. That is Bonchev, probably headed for yet another trip to the pits. Nope, he manages to keep it upright, more or less. Muir dipping a wheel. Boy, it is just mayhem on track. Mayhem, guys. How's Olsen doing? Now he's 10 seconds back, which is about where he was when we had that sort of pit shakeup. He was about 10 seconds back when he dove into the pits. I guess he might have... I wonder if he saw Muir, if he was close enough to see Muir go ahead and head into the pits and he decided, yeah, I'll do the same. Or if he's just looking at his gauges and thinking, okay, I'm halfway through the race. I might as well go and get my stuff now. Hopefully Olsen is able to make this pass. Well, I don't know if he's going to catch... Not sure if he's going to be able to catch Bonchev before they get to 1. There is Bonchev. See how Olsen manages this pass. We know it's coming. Olsen probably, I don't think he was happy with the way he came out of that turn. I wonder if everybody's having problems with new tires, like they were used to the more slidey tires before they pitted, and now they're on cold tires, or there's more grip and they're just not used to it. But we're seeing some pretty good drivers having some trouble with the cars after the pit. And we just saw a flash of Muir in the distance. This pass is coming any moment. Olsen on Bonchev might be able to do it before they get to the final turn. Looks like he will. Now Hazelton is going to have to make the same maneuver, although he'll probably have the benefit of getting a good run on Bonchev. And maybe he'll be able to do it as he goes down the front straight. He's about just a little under 2 seconds away from Olsen ahead. Will he try to outbrake Bonchev here? No, he does not. Danger. He knows that that's danger. Bonchev lets it breathe and lets him on by. Okay. Soon we will be down to 10 laps to go. Ah, hit the microphone again. I apologize. Shameful. You got what you pay for, folks. Oops. Did Olsen have an incident ahead? I don't think so. Okay. So. Here's Muir. Still nearly 10 seconds away from Olsen. I'm not sure that that's a recoverable gap for Olsen, given the way that Muir is able to get his car around this track. I think that we could see a shakeup if Hazelton is able to close the gap to Olsen, which he's not going to be able to do that way. But I'm not sure whether Olsen will be able to close that up. That would be great if he were able to do that. So, right now on the road, Muir, Olsen, Hazelton, Greenberg in the Oregano car, Henry, run P5, Day all the way back in 6 after that incident in turn 1. Baruch in P7. That looks like Newton's car going a little sideways. And Lovett, who's in the pit. Bonchev heading through the 3 area there. Bandy and Newton. So far, Bandy is winning our unofficial who can go to the pits the most contest, although Newton may shortly be closing the gap. Bandy has had 4 pit stops during the race, followed by Lovett and Bonchev, each with 3. Here are your leaders. Muir. Olsen passing Baruch in the front straight. Olsen has managed to trim down the gap to 8.5 seconds. So if he's able to pick up Well, if he's able to pick up a second a lap, it shouldn't take him long to close the gap at all. But even at a second a lap, if he's 8 seconds back, 10 laps to go, hard to say. Or 9 laps to go. Dang, I hit the microphone again. I apologize. Mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. Just kidding, I am. Come on, microphone, work with me. Let's see if we have any close races going on back through the field. It doesn't really look like it. It's Muir with 8 seconds to Olsen, with 2 seconds to Hazelton, with 16 to Greenberg, with 11 to Henry, 14 to Day, and then Baruch is a lap down. Lovett's a minute off Baruch. Bonchev's 39 seconds off Lovett. And Bandy is a strong minute off Bonchev. So we are pretty strung out here, folks. Now that is Hazelton dealing with with Baruch as he comes down the front straight. See if that causes any problems for him. It shouldn't. I'm sure that he let Ben know that he was going to go for a pass in the Discord. And they manage it safely, it looks like. It looks like Olsen is being held up just there by, that might be Bandy. It is indeed in the number 5 car. I'm sure that Bandy will let him go by at the earliest safe opportunity. Olsen now closed the gap to Muir down to 7.6. He's closing up to Muir pretty fast. I wonder if there could be something wrong with Muir's car, or if Muir is saving fuel. Hard to say. Olsen making a safe pass on Bandy here, looks like. Bandy dips a wheel on the outside of that turn. That was a dangerous moment there. That could have easily turned into a problematic situation, but he manages to keep it upright. And it looks like... Yep. Now the gap back up to 8 seconds from Olsen to Muir. So it seemed like he was storming along for a minute there, but maybe trying to get around some traffic has held him up a little bit. It does look like he's got a little bit of clear track. Does Muir. The 11 car. Next in front of him will be Bonchev and then Day. They won't be racing for place. Looks like they might have had some kind of an issue because they're moving slowly on track. If Bonchev took Day out, I'm sure that Day will be annoyed by that. Let's see if we had any recent events. Not particularly. It looks like Day might be limping back to the pit. Indeed he is. Let's see if we can see what happened to Day. I don't see anything in the events list, so hard to say. Maybe he ran out of gas? Entirely possible. Olsen has carved away at Muir's lead, gotten it down to just about a second. That's Muir sliding it around. Excuse me, down to about 7 seconds. Now at 6.8 as it shows. I don't think he's going to have enough race to be able to catch him up. Now, what are Olsen and Hazelton up to? Is Olsen able to get away from him? No, he's not. There's Hazelton right on him. They're not, nose to tail, as we've seen them be at other points in the race, but it doesn't seem that It seems like they're fairly evenly matched. Excuse me for the dead air. I was just being admonished by my lovely wife. She thought that some items here in the room where I've got my computer set up might be in danger of breaking some of her stuff. A fate, punishable by death, as you well know. So, 26 of 32, lap-wise. Hazelton and Olsen looking pretty similar through that complex there, through that 3 area. They have managed to carve down the Mirror's lead to 6 seconds, so they're gaining. They're certainly gaining. But we're only looking at 5-ish laps left, 5, 6 laps left. Now, if Muir has another little oops-a-daisy, that could be another matter. He's able to turn a pretty fast lap. Look at the room that he's got there. You can just see Olsen and Hazelton there in the distance as Muir begins to turn into one. A lot of space. And we appear to have a pretty similar gap between Olsen and Hazelton, so you wonder if there's going to be any kind of shakeup here. Greenberg in the Oregano car, just coming around turn 1. Probably thinking to himself about the benefits of, spices like turmeric. I've heard that if you take turmeric, you can feel a little bit better in your life. It's the kind of thing that might go with oregano. Basil's not too hard to grow, at least here where we live in the Atlanta metro area. I'm not sure about oregano, but boy, if you're making a homemade pizza, if you throw a little fresh basil on there, fresh cut basil, oh man, it just takes it up a notch. I know that we're looking at an oregano car, not a basil car, but hey, maybe something to think of for next week. Here we go to Muir. Olsen has carved down his lead down under 6 seconds now. You should see him. Yes, you do. He is that determined black speck in the distance. And it looks like he was able to get a little bit of space on Hazelton somehow. Did Hazelton have an incident? No, he did not. He did have a bit of an off track, but nothing to get upset about. So, 5 laps to go. And we'll go and have a look at your leader. Just 5 seconds. I don't know, maybe Olsen can close it up. Muir's last lap was a 1:24.3. Olsen's was a 1:24.0. Hazelton 1:25.3. So he had some kind of an issue there on the last lap. As Muir crosses the start-finish line. Olsen storming along. They do have some clear air. Next car on track is the 5 car of Day, who's a pretty fast racer, so he shouldn't cause him too many problems. Here's Day in his repaired car. and he will be next on track for Muir. Olsen is now close enough to be able to smell Muir's exhaust. And get his marbles in the face. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Marbles in the face. Get your minds out of the gutter. You disgusting degenerates. Here's Muir. You can see Olsen in the distance there. 5 seconds. And 4 to go. We are on lap 29 of 32. There's Muir. Let's have a little look at him. And now I believe we're on lap 30 of 32, and indeed we are. I think that Olsen's determination, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just reading the tea leaves here, but I feel like his determination has somewhat abated. He doesn't seem to be driving with the same vigor that he was a lap ago. And that could be because he's thinking to himself, you know, I can kill myself and try to keep claiming seconds to try to win, or I can bring home a P2 safely. And the latter option might be preferable to crashing out or going off the track in max attack mode and giving up the podium to, it would be Greenberg in the Oregano car, currently running P4. I don't know that that's happening. I'm not able to read Olsen's mind, but it wouldn't surprise me. Here comes Muir. And there he goes. 2 laps to go. We are now on the penultimate lap. And when we come around next time, we will see, I believe, Muir get the white flag. He's got 5 seconds on Olsen, who's got a couple of seconds on Hazelton. So barring some terrible incident on the final lap, this could very well be your podium for JZilla Tuesday Night iRacing at Summit Point. Now, I just want to get into the chase cam mode and see if we can see the flag as Muir gets it. Olsen was able to get that gap down to under 5 seconds. As you can see, he's at 4.9. But I just don't think he's going to be able to close it up by the end of the race. Who knows? Maybe Muir is going to let it breathe a little bit. But as I say, I believe when we pass the starting stand, we should see Muir getting the white flag. It's up there to your right there. Here we go. And the gentleman did nothing. So I guess they don't wave a flag for a final lap. But Muir begins his final lap with a 5-second gap on Olsen. As I look over the field, the car with the closest interval to the car ahead is this one, Fred Hazelton, running in P3 with about 2-second interval up to Olsen. I don't think he's going to be able to close that up on this lap, barring something terrible. Everybody else is, 10, 20 seconds away from the next car. So these could very well be your results. Here is your leader, Muir, going through the carousel section for the final time. Last lap of the race. Olsen putting in a Herculean effort, gets the gap down to just 3 seconds, 3.7. He's going to be able to see Muir as he takes the checker. There he is. That's Olsen. That's what he's looking at. Oh, Muir is teasing him. He's teasing him and letting it breathe so that Olsen can be right there. Shameful. Oh, he lets Olsen by. Muir lets Olsen by to take the checker. But takes P2 for himself, I think. Or maybe they were already by the... I don't think so. Let's see what the results say, shall we? Olsen smashes into the tire wall, as is usual for the end of one of the... Or, excuse me, that was a mirror. Now, let's see. Olsen first. Muir, Hazelton, Greenberg, Henry, Day, Baruch, Bandy, Bonchev, and Newton. Lovett in P11. Well, great race. I have been Jim Hodson. Thank you so much for hanging out for the JZilla and Cross-Threaded Tuesday night iRacing. This has been Summit Point Raceway. I believe we'll be doing more of these on Tuesday. Having a ball with doing these. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with us and watching it. I hope you'll come back and join us. Maybe come and race with us. It's a lot of fun, as you can see. Do check the JZilla schedule for track days coming up this summer and fall. And stay tuned and all that kind of thing for more races. Hope you're being healthy and happy out there and enjoying your life as best you can. And I look forward to seeing you soon, friends. All right. Love you, beat it. Bye.